Okay, what's going on? This is Patriots Corner. We are speaking today to former United States Navy SEAL Ray Care. Now, Ray, how are you doing, man?
I'm doing good. Thanks for having me, brother.
Thanks for being back on. I was so excited to get a follow up with you, and I'm excited to talk to you, tackle some issues that are going on in the world, the country today, and hear a little bit about what you're doing. You got a lot of stuff going on too, don't you?
Yeah, me and I like to say my other number one, my wife, we've got some great things in the horizon, and yeah, let's do it. I'm ready.
Great deal. Now, Ray, I've been recently. I'm a big watcher of the news. I'm a big a Fox News watcher for obvious reasons. I'm a conservative. I'm not a fan of CNN. But that being said, we're seeing a lot of stuff take place in the country today as far as threats. One of those threats being North Korea. What are your thoughts on a lot of this stuff that is coming out from Kim Jong Un, of threatening messages to, the U.S. and for potential strikes and then war. What's your opinion on that?
Well, I think Kim Jong is an absolute fucking maniac, and he is literally getting ready to bite off more than he can chew. Now, I think as of now, what they've launched two missiles. They were smaller missiles. They both exploded. One went 200 yards. So that tells you the capability of what they can do. Um, sorry.
That's all good, all good. No, it's fine.
So here's the deal. He hasn't done nuclear testing as of yet. I do know that Trump and the president of Japan has warned them, and I mean, I don't know if you've been watching news, but Mr. Trump said he will not be happy. That is not a man I would want to make mad, and I think he's got every right. We don't test nuclear weapons for a reason. There's a reason why that was implemented. Do we do testing? Yes, but we have things called United Nations. We have rules that are implemented for things, and that is for the safety and well-being of the brink of war. So I think he is an absolute madman. Um, I think he's beating his chest, and I think once his advisors, I know he's been known to be a very stubborn individual. Again, I don't know Kim Jong personally, but I do know that two people that you do not want to make mad is the president of China and the president of the United States. I do know that they have, they do have a military, they do have submarines, but they have nothing in comparison to us in China. And literally, he has broken off all ties that he has with people, and everybody nationwide is realizing this. So he is going to be that lone dog out there with a pack of wolves. I wouldn't want to be him, and I'm sure. I'm not a betting man, but if I were, he's not going to test these nuclear weapons because it's going to start something that I don't think North Korea is ready to get in with. I mean, there's a big difference between trying to be a bully and actually stepping up and fighting, two of the toughest kids in high school.
Exactly, and a lot of the missiles aren't even they're failing too. We're seeing.
They are, and I mean, just because they're failing, I mean that doesn't mean to underestimate them. I've been talking to people, and you wonder if they're doing that to get exposure for failures while they're actually launching somewhere else. But luckily, we've got satellites. Obviously, all satellites right now are on North Korea. So, Kim Jong, I don't think he can take a crap without someone seeing. I mean, he needs to watch what he's doing very carefully, because like I said, he's getting ready. And I'll tell you right now, with our last president, he would have let it happen. With this president, he's not going to, and I back him 1,000%. You know, multiple countries are telling him not to do it, or there will be consequences, and he's pretty much just saying, you guys can go take a flying leap. I'm going to do what I want, and there won't be consequences. Well, I'm here to tell you, there's Mr. Kim Jong. There is going to be consequences because you do not mess with the baddest people in the world. I mean, not only us. I mean, China. I mean, countries that we haven't got along with are agreeing on this. I mean, he's wrong. So hopefully this podcast, I know I don't see any good out of testing it. I don't see what he's going to gain from it. I don't think a maniac, and he is a maniac, should have nuclear weapons because it's just an endangerment to all of civilization.
Of course. And I love how you say, too, can't take a crap without, us seeing him. And it almost goes into the question as well. North Korea has always been such a secret society. And people fail to realize that it's always been like that. There was a book that I read. I don't know if you're familiar with this book. It's called Operation Broken Reed. Are you familiar with that?
No, I'm not. I'll have to check it out.
Okay, well, it was about conducted ops that I believe it was spec ops. I'm not too positive. Going into North Korea to get in and I believe it was gathering information. But the thing is that the intelligence that the U.S. has is so amazing. And this guy believes that he's not being watched, or I'm sure even, he knows at times that he is, but it's always been that secret society. And, it's now we're seeing hostage, crisis where, Americans are captured and stuck in North Korea. I do have a question for you here. Why do we see Americans continuing to go into North Korea, and then they face, a hostage situation? But this has all been going on years prior. Why are they still going in there? What's your thoughts on that?
Well, I have my thoughts on it, but I got to be careful what I say. That's a tough question to answer without giving away anything. I guess the word we can use is probing.
We could switch to another question if it's tough, if it's difficult for you to answer. I completely understand.
I don't want to say anything. I obviously know more things than certain people, but I think we're doing a lot more. All I'll say right now is we're doing a lot more with satellites, and Kim Jong's arrogance is going to be the death of him. Not literally, but the days of the secret society are not as secret as he thinks. I will tell you that.
Yeah, exactly, and it's just one of those things where, like you said, it will slowly at some point crumble. He doesn't realize that all eyes are on him. People are watching. And I'm sure at some point he's got to realize. He's attracting all this attention. But like you said before, is he attracting this attention to gather more attention, to focus his energy somewhere else and make you think that he's focusing it in one spot?
And that's true because, what is it? He could have possibly up to, 50 nuclear weapons? This is a serious, serious matter that needs to be resolved. It's such a touchy situation. I get so upset about it. But, he's going to either have to, or get off the pot here soon because there could be some serious circumstances. He is in a pressure cooker right now, and things are ready to explode. And it's going to be him that gets burned. Could there be other casualties? Yes, but when you have pretty much the whole world looking at one particular area, saying, "Listen, don't do that," I think arrogance needs to step aside, and reason needs to come in. I think there needs to be some talks. I think there needs to be some sort of litigation, some talks where something is resolved, because if not, we could be on the brink of a war.
Of course. And the background to that book, I did research it. It was called President Truman's Secret, and the main reason of them sending in special operators was to gather information preventing the possibility of World War III. So these are all thoughts that have spawned, earlier in time, which is why I feel that people and kids even my age, I obviously have always known that the Korean War never ended. My grandfather is a Korean War veteran, but people don't realize that this has been going on now, and there's always been some form of tension. It has never ended.
I agree, and let's use North Korea and China's relationship. Literally, China is North Korea's sole remaining diplomatic ally and trading partner. So, literally, he is cutting himself off from the rest of the world. as in Kim Jong. You can only do this for so long. He is literally He is going to suffocate his entire country because I mean, what are we going to do? We're going to cut off all ties with North Korea. There's going to be no trading. There's going to be no import. There's going to be no export. I mean, as a society, they won't be able to exist.
Yeah, of
I
course.
don't know how else to. I don't like to play the politician too often because I'm a warrior by nature. But I mean, there's nothing good is going to come from this whatsoever.
Yeah, of course. And hey, if anything, you're the politician's pit bull. That's what you 100%. The bulldog. But
Exactly.
I do want to switch over. Travel 4,000 miles across, and talk a little bit about what's going on with the Middle East. Now, there was something, a serious threat that I've noticed also on the news is that now ISIS is using fake apartments, jobs, Craigslist ads to lure hostages, and that will result into murder victims. And we're seeing this happening, within our country, the United States. What is your opinion on that type of activity?
I think, well, if you want me to be honest, I think if our last president wasn't the way he was, half of this wouldn't be going on. But I do agree that ISIS is very intelligent. I mean, you want to take it from the Middle East. They're trying to take control of the Mosul Dam so they can flood, pretty much most of Iraq, which they could. We're not allowing that to happen. We don't have enough boots on the ground right there. But let's shift focus over here. Um, you know, Obama opened the floodgates and let everybody and their mother into this country. He lifted the ban that Reagan put down years and years ago, and he allowed everybody to come back. So what you're doing is literally Obama allowed known terrorists to come back to our country, knowing that they had ill will towards our country. Again, I don't know what the hell kind of president does that. And ever since then, it has been a complete and utter, what storm. Yes, what you're saying is true. It is happening. All I think people can do is, like, I'll give you an example for me. I get followers all the time. I'm starting to get followers of a picture of a woman with no contacts. I'll literally write, you're getting deported, ISIS, because you don't know. They're always probing, trying to get what they can. People asking you questions. If you don't know who someone is nowadays, social media could be the death of us in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
It is. It's so amazing the power of social media and how people can get lured into things. But all I tell people is, just like in battle, you have to be situational aware of what's going on, 360-degree bubble. And I don't know how this is going to sound on the show, but you know what? I don't trust many people. You can't nowadays. I have a very small circle, and I keep it very tight, and that's for a reason. And if you're not in my circle, I'm going to probe and prod you to make sure you are who you are, because bad things are not only happening overseas, it is coming to the home front. And before we know it, we're going to have something that's out of control happening here. And then before you know it, we're going to have a civil war. We will. I mean, if ISIS comes over here, I mean, let's use the birth rate equation. I mean, it's like Iraq is like gives birth to 12 people to like 2 or 3 of Americans. I mean, it's just a matter of time. It's just a matter of time. I don't know if I'm jumping off point too much. But
No, you're fine.
My point is they are going to just multiply and multiply and multiply and multiply, and we have to take a stand. We need to get these people the hell out of our country that don't love America. We need to do it. We need to do it now. We talk about we've got Mexico. We've got so many problems. Everybody wants to come here, and then when they come here, they want to cause problems. Build a wall, keep them out, deport their butts, get them back where they need to go, because and then no offense, but for all the bleeding heart liberals, if you wanna go help the world, I will pay for you to fly over to Iraq, go to Mosul, and hang out for a while. You let me know how it goes. because you will not be happy with the results.
Well, that's a big belief of mine, and that's what I always say. Especially during this political tension, the campaigns we were seeing, and what everybody was saying, and it's usually, as I say, all the time. It's the people who have never been in situations that you yourself have been in, who have the most to say. And it's the stuff that we're seeing is more people are speaking about a matter when they're really saying, "Oh, I'm extending this ham. I'm actually extending a whole arm," and really they're not. Because if you want it so bad, well, like you said, we'll go over and hang out and see how it goes. I'd love to read your write-up on what you had to say about your experience there. And it's threatening stuff that we're seeing happening in the country. ISIS luring people in America, and people fail to realize, I feel like, that they're here. It's whether it be sleeper cells or whatever it is, they're around, and that's the scariness of it, is that people are failing to realize that. I'm the same way when it comes to a tight-knit circle, and exactly, I 110% believe in that. I know that I'm not going to mention names, but I will ask you a question. With this, I don't know if you noticed, but more former special operators are now coming out and saying that they themselves have received threats from terrorist organizations, whether it be ISIS or whatever else. That's just, have you been seeing this, or is this, I mean...
Well, thank goodness I haven't yet. But, like I say, war is everywhere, and, like I said, social media can be the death of a lot of things, but, for former Spec Ops guys to take on social media roles like myself, that's something that we have to be ready for. I live by the Constitution, the Second Amendment, Jack. You want to come to my crib and you want to start some trouble, you better pack a lunch and you better be ready to go, because I will defend my kingdom with everything that I stand for. And I can, at 45, I can still handle my own. I bleed red, white, and blue, and I've served my country. I've worked with others that, people say I'm this and I'm that. Compared to the company I keep, I have done very little with society. I'm humble with that, but I've still got a lot of fight left in me, and I know all these other Spec Ops guys do. It is troubling, but we're prepared for that. My home is my kingdom, and I will fight to the death for it. And I will tell you this. You better be ready, ISIS, because we're pretty well trained. So you better bring a lunch, because we're going to bring a bigger one. And,
exactly. And that's great to let, that's, and because it's 100% real. And, for me, being who I am, just being such a fan of you guys and your, ethic and, work ethic with everything, it posts a thread, obviously, that you mentioned before, but like you said, bring a bag lunch. It's just it's just one of those things that people need to realize, that this stuff is going on inside of the country, and people aren't realizing it. And I don't understand why, like you said, some liberals would say this and say that in regards to bans, but fail to realize in their head that if those people were to come here, they're going to give no mercy to anybody. They're a horrible, disgusting minded kind of person. It's just ridiculous.
Yeah. They're a different animal. They have different core values. They have different ways of life, and that's fine. You keep it over there. But obviously our president, we went over there to help, to aid, because if you want to put what they're doing in a nutshell, genocide, and they are just bullying people to make them do whatever they want. Believe me, I've been over there. It's horrible. It's not a good place. Like I said, these bleeding heart liberals, you wanna lecture me, you want to preach to me, you want to do this to me, head over there for about 3 months. When you come back, if you still feel the same way, then I will sit down and I will have an intelligent conversation with you and listen to everything you have. Whenever I speak to a liberal and I ask them that, I get, oh, yeah, whatever, because of course not. They're not going to go over there. And most of them, like you said, have never served their country or have done anything pretty much for their country, except decide to speak up, speak out about something they don't have a darn clue about.
Now, let me ask you this: when you say you speak to friends who are liberals, this is more of a personal question. When you're speaking to them, if you're mentioning to them, you've been in hostile situations where you've been over to that specific country, do they
Sure.
still kind of denounce your
Of course they do.
response, even though that you're a United States Navy SEAL?
Of course they have. Of course they do, because they've never been shot at. They've never seen their brothers in arms, being shot or dying in their arms. They've never been seen a V-bit go off or an IED and seen what the power that it can do to people, how it can, it shreds through people like a hot knife through butter. No, they live in a little comfortable society where they get up like sheep and they go to work and they do their job and they come home and of course not. Of course not. And because the problem with liberals in my eyes, and I could care less, is they're one-dimensional. They can't look outside the box. They can't look around the box. They look at one thing. They grew up in this little shell, and from listening to this person or that person who again has no type of real world experience except for books and listening to people who still don't have real world experience. I mean, seriously, how many war vets or heroes do you know that go over there and say, ISIS is good people? I mean, how many do you? I mean,
Zero. Yeah, I'm not a veteran, but I know for sure I can make the assumption that none.
Joint Chiefs of Staff. Let's use the big man. Do you think, I don't think he wants to go over there and annihilate the whole population, but like it's been said before in document, I'm not going to say who, bad people must go away.
Yeah, I agree. Now, Trump, obviously, he's doing a fantastic job, and like we mentioned before, it's difficult what he's going through, and the guy's still facing criticism from different people and on his decision making process. And I'll watch the Speaker of the House every his speaker every single day, and the guy's got so much to say because there's always stuff that's getting thrown at him. He wants to put more military, obviously, in the Middle East. And do you feel that is right to do? Do you feel like it should be more of a ground fighting situation, or maybe something else?
I do think we need a bigger footprint / presence overseas. It was working. Obama pulled him out, and look what happened.
Yeah. And it's go on. I'm sorry.
Sure, we need a bigger presence on the ground. We need to go over there, and we need to be the schoolyard monitor who watches the children, because that's what they are. And because it's not only over there, it's to protect the good. I mean, if we pull out, all hell's going to break loose. We have a small presence over there now, and if you go over there right now, an American doing something doesn't have the same impact as he did back in 2004. Why? Because we didn't have, back then we had all big mill down there, which you did not mess with. There was a pecking order, and we were maintaining law and order over there, where they were starting to build up as a society. For some reason, President Obama thinks they're good to go. Let's decrease the boots by, I don't know how many hundreds of thousands he pulled out. And guess what? It's starting all over again. People were criticizing President Trump. I love President Trump. I would love to sit down and have a beer with President Trump or whatever he drinks and pick that man's mind, because, what we're going to get Hillary was going to do a better job. Hillary turned the helicopter back on my best friend Glenn Doherty that got killed, and people are like, "You don't know that. You weren't there." I do know.
Yeah,
I do. I do know where he was. I'm intimate with where he was. They didn't have to go over there and do what they did and protect that embassy, but that's the caliber of people they were. They deserved a real president that would protect them. We have that president now, and I solely and strongly believe in that. If that situation were to happen under President Trump's watch, let me tell you what, he would have launched everything he had to go save those individuals, because he is a true American.
Yeah, I agree. And, I'm a big fan of him as well. I'll tell you, I don't know if I mentioned this to you before. big present that my parents got me for Easter. Trump bobblehead. I love it. I greet it every single morning when I wake up. It's the sunshine of the morning. But
I'm actually working with a gentleman. I don't want to say his name right now. He's worth like $40 billion. Who is good friends with President Trump. I'm trying to work up to asking him to meet with. Actually, he calls him Donnie. I would never call Donald Trump that. I would call him Mr. President or Sir. And I hope he doesn't. I don't think he would, but he would ever hear that. But Sir, I would call you Mr. President. And I'm trying to hope to just get a picture of me and Mr. Trump, and maybe with my family, because we support him, we love him. You know, I don't care who you put into the office at the time you did. Reagan himself would have got criticized. And I mean, literally, two of my favorite presidents, Trump and obviously Mr. Reagan and Mr. Trump, sorry. So, you know, was I an Obama fan? No, I was not. But he was the commander-in-chief. So, you know, you have to do what you're told. You don't have to like it. But, you know, I'm so honored to be, because I still work doing some things under a president that I feel puts the country before his own personal agenda.
Yeah, of course. And, you know, in relation back to his activity with, you know, more, you know, troops and being sent over to the Middle East and different parts of, you know, the world, that we're still seeing a presence of Al-Qaeda. And do you feel that, you know, ISIS, you know, versus Al-Qaeda almost, you know, one poses a larger threat than the other? You know, I was reading up on something earlier today that there was a situation, obviously in Somalia, and, you know, I don't have to get too much into it, but, you know, obviously pay my respects to you, and, you know, for you had a fallen brother, but it's you know, do you feel that, you know, ISIS over Al-Qaeda, one poses more of a threat than the other, or is it equal?
I think they're equal, but they're just different in other ways. I think Al-Qaeda right now is smarter at staying out of the press right now. They're trying to stay a little more low-key, which can be dangerous because I think, you know, they're plotting. You know, ISIS is like I hate to say this, it's going to make people mad, like wants to be in the spotlight, you know. They both want to be known what's going on, but Al-Qaeda sometimes will hide in the shadows for a while and wait. ISIS wants to be on the front cover of everything. So I think they are equally dangerous. I just think it's just like the North Korean missile test. Right now, I think all eyes are on one thing, but we should be watching that back door. You know, I think they're both evil groups. They wish nothing well for us. I think one is tailcoating off of ISIS right now, and they're just regrouping and waiting to make their mark, because guess what? Right now, all eyes are on who? I mean, you answer the question. Who are all eyes on?
Whether what country or?
Well, they're on ISIS.
Yes,
Everybody's waiting to see what ISIS is going to do next. The Mosul Dam. If they're going to get lured into, you know, social media onslaughts that we're dealing with now. I think personally that the other group is just waiting and waiting and waiting, and they're coming up with a plan, and then boom, they're going to hit us too. Because what we're doing is normally we're always watching. What we do is we're like, oh, this kid's being more of a troublemaker. Let's watch him. You know, I mean, eyes are still on him. Don't get me wrong. ISIS right now is much more organized. I think ISIS right now has, compared to some of the other things I've seen, has more funding. And right now, I mean, the numbers are, you know, I mean, they're a force to be reckoned with numbers. I mean, you know, they were holding their own in Mosul. I mean, they're going at it, man. You know, they're trained well. They need to go away.
Yeah, and before I want to ask you also, you know, about what you have going on right now, but I do have one more question, if you can answer, about, you know, topics and incidents we're seeing around the world. What is your stance on why, you know, Kim Jong-un's brother was poisoned and killed, or half-brother, I'm sorry?
You know,
you know, it's a touchy, you know.
It is.
thing. Yes, of course.
with the statements, a statement saying, "Hey, look what we can do." I have about three different opinions on that. I think it was just. So I'm going to watch what I say here. I think it was someone making a statement stating that no one is untouchable. Is all I want to say. I got to watch what I say here.
Of course, yes.
Anybody is vulnerable. Everybody is acceptable. Everybody can be taken away if need be. And I think, it shocked the world that it could be done. Yeah, I'm going to be real careful with that one. That's tough. A point was made. I think it was made at a whole different level than what we all think is going on. And I want to watch what I say here. I'm going to stop right there.
Yes, and from news, I could speak on behalf, from what I've gathered, just from the news, like what we've mentioned before, the guy's crazy, obviously, and he's got, there's no fine line with him, which is the danger, and it's just a threat, but it could potentially come to a crumble because doesn't know that, Big Brother and bigger and badder has eyes on him, and, that's plain and simple. But I appreciate your answer with the other stuff. I do thank you for that. But I do want to get into something totally awesome. Very excited to speak to you about it. You have a lot of stuff going on right now, Ray. I'll tell you what, my friends, I'm always seeing you got the live videos, you got all stuff, whether it be on your Instagram page. By the way, people listening, Ray Cash Care, you got to follow it. It's always got cool stuff, badass stuff that that's you got going on. What do you got going on as far as with your company?
Let's see. So, we own. I'm partnered with a gentleman by the name of Dr. Brett Osborne, who is a neurosurgeon and anti-aging doctor. We are on the brink of opening up about a 14,000 square foot facility down in Florida, which we do training, we do beat downs, we do rehabilitational work, we work with vets, I put on SEAL courses, you name it, we do it. That is hopefully going to be the next occupation for Ray Cash Care, not carrying a gun, doing whatever it is I do now. So that's number one. Number two, I've got the new clothing line coming out, the Cash Care logo. We're getting ready to sell some shirts. Me and my wife, obviously, my wife is my partner. We have a new Facebook page out called Frog, Forever Reaching One's Goals, where literally it is an interactive Facebook page where you pay $24.95. You would go to www.drbrettosborne.com/special/frog. And pretty much what we do is we put on daily workouts. We have about 450 members right now where it's just a bunch of people. I just posted something on my thing. It said, I have a picture of me doing log PT with people, and I think the caption I said is most people say you're only as strong as your weakest link. I don't agree that people are weak. I think they have deficiencies. I think that you're only as strong as you allow yourself to be. So you can always be stronger. There's always room to improve. So we built this website for people who literally feed off of each other's positive energy. So you pay a one-time fee of $24.95. You get to speak to probably one of the top anti-aging doctors in the country, TRT replacement, which means as you get older, your testosterone lowers in your body. You need to find ways to rejuvenate it. It helps with recovery, helps with your libido, helps with just your overall appearance. And, your body is built up on numbers. So, you have to take, blood work and all those things. So what we do is we make sure that you're healthy from the inside out, not what society's used to, plastic surgery and all that. You may look great, but your insides could be garbage. So that's what we do. So that's our big thing right now. We got the T-shirt. We've got the Frog T-shirts going. I may be doing something hopefully here with a sporting line, sporting company. I can't say who right now. I'm hoping to do some stuff with them. I might be working with a franchise across America doing some motivational speaking and doing some what I call team building, which if you've seen the selection, pain is growth. So we take individuals, we break them down to the bare minimum, and we rebuild them. We've got, you name it. I've got so much. I'm working. I've got a watch line out. I'm working on right now with NFW watches. I'm a ambassador. That's actually the name. I'm sorry for saying ass on your site,
It's
but
okay. Badass is okay to say on the radio. We're good.
for NFW online watches, we give cash 15. We give discounts. Proceeds go to vets. We're doing the same thing with Skeleton Optics. I mean, working with Randy Couture, Dom Rosso, and about 20 other ambassadors. RC Skeleton 10 gets you 10% off of pretty much everything they have. The gentleman that owns that company, Mark Lamo, former military guy, has given about $11 million back to charity. Great individual. And then I'm working. I've got another partner of mine by the name of, we'll just call him Tim. He's my media guy / mentor / manager. We're just coming up with all these great events, public speaking, and I'm actually, if you can believe this, I'm going to be speaking in a church. That could go one of two ways. We're going to see. I don't know, but I'm really excited about that. And then my wife and I should be moving to Florida next year, and then we are opening up a whole surplus of online instructional videos, tapes you can buy, just to help people be the best them's they can be. I say I want to make you be the best you can be. Success is my ability to help others help themselves. So I have literally got about 20 fires and going right now, and as long as it's for a positive goal, there's got to be a positive goal at the end. We always like to give percentages to either Unity Seal Association, different charities. Breast cancer is huge in my family. My wife's mother passed away of breast cancer, so we're always doing good things to try to help out. You name it, I'm doing live feeds every day. I'm working with some MMA fighters. I've got so much going on. It sounds like my life is in chaos, but it's actually very well meticulated, and good things are coming on the horizon. I have a new show coming out. I'm going to be filming in December for NBC. That's all I can say. But it is going to be, if it goes, it will be enormous. You thought the selection was something. This is going to make the selection look like small beans. So, yeah, that's me. That's what I got going on.
Very cool, very cool. And, I'm sure it's all exciting stuff. And, I love following it. Again, at Ray Cash Care, definitely, follow Ray's Instagram page. You always have cool stuff that you're posting up, and I'm always eager to see what you got going on and everything. Now, I do have a question. As far as relating back to our original discussion on being a Navy SEAL, I recently thought of this. After you're out of the SEAL teams, are you still tight knit with maybe not the guys who you were in with, when you were active, but as far as other Navy SEALs as well, who you might come across, you already have that sense of strong.
Yeah, there's always that. Some of the guys, you get in the media, they're going to have a little bit of negative criticism, but as of late, I've been making a pretty solid name for myself, because I do actually turn down a lot of projects that could make me look cheesy or misrepresent SEAL teams, which I refuse to do. So I think as long as you're doing it with tact and you're doing it with style, there's always going to be one or two haters, is what we call them. But for the most part, the guys are happy with me, which is very rare. There's a few of the guys in the media that they're not very happy with, but I won't give away any secrets. People ask me which SEAL team I was at. All I say is the East Coast SEAL team. I don't give away any OPSAC. People come to me all the time, ask me, Cash, what are the secrets to becoming a Navy SEAL? And you ready for this? This is what I tell them: run, swim, push-ups, pull-ups, sit-ups, row, ruck, and ride a bike. And literally, and it's not like I'm giving away any secrets. I say the same thing that all the other instructors are doing. I just, I don't break down phase lines of training or any of that stuff. It's all mindset. That's all it is. All I focus on is the mindset aspect of it. That's it. That's all I do. That's why I stay out of the limelight, the bad limelight, with the other team guys, because I don't go around saying I'm a war hero. I don't go around stating that I killed people that, either I did or didn't do. All I say is, hey, listen, guys, in order to be successful in life, You need to have a strong mind. That's it.
Well, see, that's what I love so much about, your response is it's you hear that a lot, within your community, men in your community. I've heard it from you, countless times. I've heard it from Chris, from even Mitch Aguiar. I'm a fan of his as well. And
Yeah, it's your great friends.
yeah, and it's just it's cut and dry and it's to the point. And it's more so the thing of you're giving the secret, and that's why I have so much respect, for you guys, is because also, as others will say, there's no real preparation until you're actually there and in the thick of it and participating. I mean, you guys did the unthinkable.
Well, buds is like life. You don't know what to expect. All you do is grind through it and get it done. That's it. That's the secret. People ask me, how many push-ups do you do on your third day? Who cares? I do as many push-ups as they say. That's what I do. I do, but that's how life should be, If you've got to do something, do it. That's the point, Like I tell people, don't use machines, become one. I had some kid on my feed the other day going, you're talking to me on a machine, and I deported him. I got rid of him, and he wrote me back and said he was sorry. It's not about that. It means stop relying on everything else in the world and rely on yourself. Become the machine. Become the perfect machine. Mind, body, and soul. That's how you get through life. How, if you're going to get through buds, you're going to get through buds. And how probably we're going to get through this next world war if we have to deal with it. I mean, mindset, this is Mitch's saying, not mine. I'm going to make sure I quote that because I don't like to do that. Mindset is everything. You need it in order to succeed in life. No matter what path that is, life, we all have different paths. That is going to be the common factor for success, mindset, bar none.
Yeah, and do you see it also as sometimes as, because I'll watch, and see questions and stuff. Do you ever get the impression or the feeling that it could, as a form of disrespect when somebody's assuming something or assuming that it's okay to, to ask something or ask a question? What's your thoughts on that? As potentially a form of disrespect, as assuming you're something you're not.
I've gotten, some people ask questions, and they've actually asked disrespectful questions, and they're ignorant of it. They just don't know any better. We're pretty good at feeling that out. And, funny enough, most of the people that ask me questions about being SEALs are like 12 and 13-year-old kids.
Okay.
And it's like, come on, man, you're 12 or 13. In 5 years, so many things are going to change. That Mr. Cash, you motivate me. Blah blah. You got big muscles. Yet when I was 12, I didn't. I want to be a Navy SEAL. What do I do? This is what I tell people: do good in school, listen to your parents, love your country, work out, let time develop. Because a lot of people want to be SEALs, and I think they want to do it for the wrong reason. They're watching too many cool shows.
Well, that's another. Yeah, that's what I wanted to ask you. Is that right there? Do you feel that is the plain and simple point? The movies and stuff that are coming out are what is it? Glorifying, and then when I get the opportunity to speak to a guy like yourself, find out there's a whole different half of it.
Yeah, people. This is what I tell people. Like people say, I'm deciding if I want to be a Navy SEAL or a Marine Recon. If you have to decide what you want to be, shame on you. When I wanted to be a SEAL, I wanted nothing. I didn't even want to date women. All I wanted to do was be a SEAL, whatever that took. I trained for 3 years. I'm not saying I didn't have any life, but PT was my life. That's all I cared about. I idolized these guys. People nowadays, like I said, everybody wants the CLEP course to be a SEAL. Well, guess what? They don't offer a CLEP course. You need to put up or shut up if you want to do it. And the movies don't do it justice, guys. And these guys are like, Ray, you're my hero. Let me tell you what, Buds is a great experience, and it is a horrible experience. You will be scared. You will be tired. You will be hungry. You will be cold, colder than you've ever been. And you will want to quit. There are some SEALs that said they've never wanted to quit when they went through Buds. I find that hard to believe. Everybody at a time probably just would say, oh, God, what I wouldn't do for that cup of coffee or that donut. Some people Jocko states he's never ever wanted to quit. Maybe, but I don't know. I don't. I did. I thought about quitting. I won't lie.
Yeah, and it's the film, and I know I can mention this because, well, obviously I put it out there, and I know Jeff as well. We spoke, and he even himself said, that he was kind of aggravated with the accuracy of the movie American Sniper, and it comes into play with Hollywood and making a movie and then it being the real thing, and the only person who's actually going to know the real thing is guys like yourself, someone who's been through it. So that's 100%. I feel that it's just something that is so privileged, but like you mentioned, you're not going to know until you reach a certain point in your life to where you could actually say, okay, this is what I want to do.
Yeah. Yep.
Well, Ray, I got to say, it's been awesome, as it always is. Thank you so much for the follow-up, and thank you for, giving your opinions on some stuff that we have going on, obviously, in the world today, and mentioning your company. It's very cool. I'll say it again, and I'll keep on saying, at Ray Cash Care, make sure to follow Ray up, and, good luck with everything. It's always an honor to speak to you, and thank you so much for being on the show. It really, truly is always an honor, sir.
The honor was mine. Look forward to it, and God bless America.
All right, Ray. Take care.
Take care, sir. Bye.
Alrighty, that was just Ray Care. Now, like I mentioned before, follow Ray's Instagram page, which is at Ray Cash Care. Ray has so much cool stuff that is coming out right now, so you're gonna want to click that follow button and start seeing what Ray's doing. He's a great guy, and it's always an honor to speak with him. And this was such a fantastic podcast that we did today for Patriots Corner. All right, guys, well, have a fantastic weekend, and thank you for listening to Patriots Corner podcast. Like I said, follow at Ray Cash Care on Instagram to check out what Ray has going on. Have a fantastic weekend, and God bless America. Take care.